This is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations, and I'm back today with part one of a two-project tutorial. This is project number one that I'm doing for my design team package for the month of September. And this is Photoplay's Autumn Junk Collection. And it's really kind of fun. But I do have to share something with you. So when I got the package, I had a bunch of ideas. And I was going back and forth and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And some of y'all asked for a junk journal. And some of y'all asked for an album. And so I thought, I'm going to challenge myself. And I am going to do both. So I'm going to show you a couple pictures. I have divided up my papers. Now, I did receive 12 pattern papers, and there were 2 of each of the 6 designs. So I basically divided those up, and then I got the package of coordinating cardstock and I divided that up. So let me show you those pictures. And then I decided what I was going to do was I was going to take one, challenge myself, see if I could make both. One for a junk journal and then one for a mini album. So this is the first one. I worked on the junk journal and I've got some of it done. It's super, super simple. We're making a very simple pamphlet journal with a few little goodies in it and lots of room to add more in the future as you work on it. So I thought this would be fun. For a lot of different things. So you could use it as a junk journal for the, fall months. You could use this as a planner for fall activities, for Thanksgiving. You could put photos in it. You could do all kinds of things. So I thought this was really fun. So let's get started. I'll talk to you talk you through how I did it. And then we're going to do a couple elements together so I can show you, okay? So basically you saw in the photo that I did take 6 of the papers. And so 3 of them, and you can see I have stuff clipped in here. 3 of them had a front and a back that did not have cut aparts and things. So I really like the cut aparts. We're going to use those in pockets and things like that. But I wanted to keep the ones that were plain, the 3 that had the plain, or not plain, but the 3 that had the pattern papers on both sides. That's what I should say. So I took 3 of those, and then I also took the red cardstock and the orange cardstock. All right. And I sandwiched those together. So you end up having 5 pages. Okay. So here's what the inside looks like. All right. And then you have the orange paper and then this pattern paper with the leaves. You have the red and then you have this. So what I did was I took them, I kept them at 12 inches and then I cut them off at 9 inches. And so that left 3 pieces. Let me show you at the bottom that would have, some pattern paper left over that I haven't looked at yet. And then what I did was I scored them all down on the 12 at 6 inches. And then I stacked them together. Okay. So you can see from the top view, this is what that looks like. Okay. Then I took, the binding is super simple. So the seam binding came in my design team package. So we have this beautiful fig and then we have new rust. So I used fig for the binding and I did the most simple binding there is for a junk journal. I punched 2 holes and thread it through and then tied it in a bow around the spine. Super easy peasy. Tied a bow and then I knotted the ends so that it wouldn't come undone. But that's the binding. That is it. When I punched the holes, I used my crocodile and I used the 1/8 inch hole, and you can see I've lost the stopper on this one. I just put it all the way into my crocodile till it stopped against the tool and then punched my hole. So if you want an exact measurement, I can do that, which is about 1 inch up from the top and the bottom. And I only did 2 holes. That's it. No fancy sewing, no nothing. This is super easy peasy. I wanted this to be a really easy project. Now, the other thing that's cool with this is that it still leaves you room to add paper. So you could tuck things underneath the binding. You can even do it on the other pages. So if I wanted to tuck a little something something that fits in between those holes, I can do that and add more little bits and pages and things like that. So you could take paper to write in, you know, like for journal papers or whatever, and tuck those under there and add things as you wish. So I think that's kind of a cool idea. And that's one benefit to not having that third hole in a pamphlet stitch. Okay, so then let's talk about some things here. I did use the new Rust seam binding for a closure because I really wanted a closure for this. So I just measured the halfway mark. This is 9 inches, so the halfway mark is at 4.5, and I added a little score tape there and just score tape that around to kind of hold it in place. And that is going to be the closure for my album. And then on the front, I loved this journal card. So I cut that out and I did trim it up a little bit. So it is about 3 1/8 by 4. And then I added a little bit of the gold glitter cardstock that I got in my Country Craft Creations package and put that behind. So that piece measures 3 3/8 by 4 1/4. I wanted a nice border because I wanted to see all that gold. That is going to be on my cover. And I haven't quite decided yet if I want it right smack dab in the middle so that this shows, or if I want to put it up a little bit taller. I haven't decided that part yet. So I'm going to just put that off to the side for now. A little hint and tip with this gold card is that it does take a little bit of extra time and glue to glue something onto it. Because of all the glitter, you got to make sure it's all in those spaces and everything. So when you do this, be aware. Don't put glue super close to the edge, but do use a little bit more than you think you're going to need, and put it down and really use your scraper. Make sure it's spread around and just be slow and gentle because this will move around a little bit more because of that glitter on there. But this glitter doesn't come off. It's not going to spread all over everything. But you do need to do that. So I glued it down and then I was really slow and careful when I pressed it down. Okay, and then just let it sit off to the side and make sure it's good and dry. All right, so then while I was kind of thinking about this album, I was thinking of a couple things. I'm going to show you about that glue here in a second. So I've clipped a couple things together. I did attach this. I made an oversized library pocket because we have some oversized tags that I wanted to use. So I decided to use the brown paper from the coordinating pack and then the yellow one. I'm going to show you how to do that. But then what I did was I glued it on the two sides here so that you could tuck items back here. So this is when this is going to be a great little journal. Haven't done anything with this yet on the other side. Let's go back to here. So then I wanted to kind of, you know, put something on the front of the pocket. Okay. So I did pick this piece here and I'm going to give you the measurements because I believe I trimmed that one down too. So I trimmed it down to like 3 by 3.5. And this gold here, yeah. Then this gold here is about 3 3/8 by 3 3/4. And then that is going to kind of go right in there. Okay. So let's grab our glue and let me show you what I mean by gluing this down and being super careful. So I'm using my art glitter glue. I'm not going super close to the edge, but I am adding quite a bit. And I think, I mean, it feels like I'm adding like more than I normally do. I really want to make sure it gets in those nooks and crannies of that glitter. Okay. And then I'm going to center this. Like so. And then I'm going to be real careful, but I'm going to hold it down too because this will move around a little bit if you're not careful. Okay. So I'm just going to go around and kind of smush that glue around. It is kind of coming out the top, but that's okay. Art glitter glue does dry clear, so it's okay. But I'm just kind of real gentle trying to spread that around. Okay. And I'm taking a little bit more time than if I was to be doing this on just paper, okay? And then I'm going to set this off to the side again and let it dry. But this eventually is going to go right here on the pocket, okay? So I'm going to put that off to the side as well. Now let's kind of look at the next kind of things here. So I'm leaving this blank for now. Here I made a paper clip, and I'm going to show you how to make this. What I did was I used cut aparts from the paper collection, but I folded them. I cut them out and folded them, and I'm going to show you that when I make the other one. But I made a hidden paper clip, and then in the hidden paper clip, I put one of the tags and one of the journal cards. And then you can tuck a lot more in there, you know, as you go on, okay? But that was the idea with that. And then we'll turn the page here. And then here I want to put a pocket, okay? So what I've done is I've kind of paper clipped a few things together. I'm going to take this one off for now just because I want to make sure that the page is flat when I glue. I can put that back on in a minute. But when I cut my papers, I had strips left over of my red, so I decided I wanted to make a pocket, and I wanted to do a red one. And I'm just going to glue it on. So I just cut it to 9 inches by 3. Okay, and then I'm just going to put glue on the 3 sides. And kind of the idea of these junk journals is to be able to add to them. So I'm not adding like a whole lot of things in here because I want room, you know, to do things, right? All right, so then you just glue that on so you have the nice pocket here. And then I cut a piece. This is one of the strips left over. This strip came from the cut apart page. So I did have to, because I only had 6 papers to work with, I did have to sacrifice some. So I did cut that off, and I cut it at 2 7/8 by 8 7/8. And I'm going to just glue that onto the pocket just to decorate. Like so, okay. And then I kind of wanted to decorate the pocket a little bit as well. So out of my scraps, I did take this out of the ephemera pack that I got, and this is like a Polaroid frame, Polaroid frame, and I just cut it a little bit wider than the frame. So like this piece here measures 2.5 by 3, and I'm going to just glue the frame onto it, and then I can add a picture inside of that when I'm ready. Okay. So I'm just going to center this one. Whoop, there we go. Come on, Michelle. All right. And then I did this one, this frame here actually came from, I saved the piece. This was in the ephemera pack as well. And I just cut it off of, you know, cut it. It was a double kind of frame that looked like this. I just cut it. I did trim it a little bit, and I did trim it to, tell you, 2 1/8 by about 3 1/8. And then this piece here is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to glue that on to that piece of cardstock. And it has a little bit of frame of cardstock around that border, okay? And then I can pop a picture right inside here when I'm ready, okay? So my thought was I would do something like this and glue those down. And that would be kind of a cute pocket decoration. I could add a little bit of photo. I could even, you know, write a really cute, you know, fall quote in there if I wanted to, if I didn't want to add photos. And I'm going to go back and use some stickers as well to decorate, because I'm going to use some stickers for this and some stickers for my photo album. All right, and then I have one of the journal cards that I cut out, and that'll go in the pocket to get things started, okay? Alrighty. On this page here, my thought was, I really like this ephemera piece. So I glued it onto the gold and I fussy cut around it. And then what I wanted to do was create a little pocket at the bottom of the page for 2 tags. Okay. So I am just literally going to glue that on like 3 sides. And I'm going to kind of not go in. I'm going to go to the widest point. Does that make sense? And leave this top part open. And then I'm just going to just center that on the page. I'm eyeball centering it. And glue that down. And then that will be a cute little pocket to add a couple tags. So I just cut those out. And those will pop in there like that. Haven't done anything with this page yet. Now this page is where I'm going to do the hidden paper clip that I told you I would show you. Okay. So I have 2 tags. And I have 2 cut aparts ready to go. And then I have my pieces to make my hidden paper clip. Now let me show you how I did that. So I cut these out of the pattern paper. There were 2 little cut aparts here, and they are actually, they are not the same size. So the first one here is about 1 7/8, and the second one is about 2 1/8. So they're going to, when you fold them, and this is kind of where I got the idea, because at first, when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, they're the same size. They're not the same size. They're a little bit off. So then I thought, well, this would be great for a paper clip because the bigger size would hold the longer size of the paper clip, and the shorter side would fit perfectly with the shorter side. Does that make sense? So I cut a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 2. All right. And then I scored it at 2 inches right here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a trick. With my other one, let me show you this. I tried to make it so that the bend of the paper clip was not as high and didn't like take up as much space. So what I ended up doing, I'll show you, is I took my crocodile and I took the 3/8 or 3/16 inch hole, and I just, in the middle of this, and not too far, you don't have to do too much. I just punched a little hole right in the middle. Okay, so it just made a little hole. And then when you put this on, when you seat it down, it actually goes kind of flat to the edge of the cardstock. Okay, so that won't protrude too much and cause problems with your cut apart. Okay, and then we're going to just place that on there. Now I do need to do a little bit of trimming here because I can see. And the other thing I'm going to do is, this is 2 inches, so I'm going to trim off just a little bit so that I can make this kind of fit better. So what I'm going to do is on each side, this is about 2 1/8, so I'm going to trim this down 1/8 of an inch on each side, and then that way it will actually have like a border. Yeah. So I'm making it about 1 7/8. I hope I'm making sense, because I don't feel like I'm making sense at all right now. It was so easy when I was designing it. I'll tell you what. Okay, so that gives us a little bit of a border right there. Okay. And then we have a little bit of a border back there. Okay. I might trim just a wee bit off that edge just to make it a little bit, just maybe like a 1/16 of an inch, just to give us a little bit more border on that side. Okay. Then you can corner around if you would like. So we probably should do that before we do anything else. So I'm going to take my corner rounder and I'm going to corner around that. I'm going to take this off for a sec. And then I'm going to corner around this. Okay. All right. So now our pieces are ready to go. So we're going to fold that again, and we're going to put our paper clip with the shorter side on the short side, okay? The longer side on the longer side, right? And then we're going to just glue that on, okay? Easy peasy. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this side because the pattern paper is smaller. And then also for a little added security, I'm going to go around my paper clip. Okay? Bigger side. Then I'm just going to center that. And push it down. Okay. Okay. Then we're going to repeat. We're going to open that up. We're going to put glue. And I like that little trick of putting a little bit of a hole in the top of that underside piece, because then your paper clip kind of gets a little bit more flush at the top, and you don't have quite as much of a piece kind of hanging out. All right, and that is our little paper clip. Okay, so we can put our paper clip anywhere in the book you would like. I'm going to put it there. Got cut apart and a tag for each side, so we can pop those under there. And there you go. Do that. Okay, let's go ahead and put the other one back. Where did I have that? Where did I have that? I had that here. So we have our little gather and be grateful. And that pops on there. And then we can put our little tags. And then we can go back and add ribbons to our tags. Make it all nice and pretty. Isn't that cute? Okay, so now we have our pocket, have this pocket, we have our 2 hidden paper clips. Let's do the library pocket for this page. All right, so again, let's go ahead and let's do this part first and give it time to dry. So here was my thinking on this one. I am going to kind of create a pocket with this one. So I was kind of running out of some pattern paper, and I decided what I was going to do was use this piece here from the die cut sheet and then make it a little pocket for these 2 little ephemera tags. So on the front of our library pocket, I'm just going to go ahead, and this came from the cut apart sheet. At the bottom there was some border pieces. I didn't ink this. I kept it more on the clean side, but you certainly can if you would like to. Okay, so again, let me get my spreader. I'm holding it down. I'm trying really hard not to let it move around, because it will move around. Trying to be a little deliberate with that. Okay, and then this, we're just going to glue on the 3 sides and create that little tuck pocket. Okay, like so. I'll give you measurements for these pieces here in just a second. And then we'll let it kind of sit and dry while we finish the pocket. Okay. So that scrap there was about, let me see, it was about 3 1/4 by 2 7/8. Okay. And then this little piece right here, I just cut to put on the bottom. Then the gold piece is 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. Okay. And this is where these two little guys are going to go in the pocket. Okay. Be a cute little tuck pocket. I'm going to put that off to the side. I've got one of the cut aparts here. It's actually 2 cut aparts, but I really liked how that looked in one piece. So I left this top part on, and then you have some journaling spots here, and that's going to fit nicely in our pocket. So the cardstock, the yellow cardstock, there it is. Found it. Losing all my toys. All right. So this piece is 4 1/2 by 12. We're going to put the 4 1/2 at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 and 4, and then we're going to turn it. And on the 12, we're going to score at 8. Okay, easy peasy. We're just going to make just a tall library pocket. That's all we're doing, and it's going to create not only the library pocket, but it's also going to create a pocket behind. Okay, so this front part here, the smaller section, the 4-inch section, we're just going to miter like so. Okay, and then we're going to miter up to the score line. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cut that score line out. So I want to make sure that as I'm cutting this up, I'm going to the left of that score line and I'm cutting it out. We're going to put those tabs towards the back of this pocket. Okay, now I'm going to go and do it the opposite direction here, but I want to go to the left of that score line. Okay, cut that score line out. It will decrease the width of the top just enough to where those tabs should fold to the back nicely. Okay, get rid of these. Then we will fold. And I'm going to look at it, and it is like going right in the score line, so that's good. All right, I'm going to fold this to the back. Fold and burnish. Okay. And fold and burnish. Okay, make sure everything's nice and flat. Then I'm going to grab my other punch wherever it went, right here. I'm using the decorative edge, and I'm going to just do that to the top here. Okay. So then glue these down, and then there's something else I want to show you. One more little step we're going to take. Okay, so again, we're just wrapping those tabs around the back so that there's no tabs inside the pocket to hold anything up. Okay, now if we bring our piece back in, we're going to put it on this side right here. So I'm going to take this off. That's what was clamping everything to that page. We're going to glue it to the side of the page. So this one here, where'd the other one go? Did the other one go? There it is. So we glued it on the two sides here. So what we're going to do is glue it on the two sides here. Now when we do that, there's going to be a little edge here that when you push your tabs through could get caught up. So what I'm going to do is an added little thing, and I'm going to use the tape trick on this just to make sure that our tabs don't get caught up. And then I'm not going to go all the way to the edge because I really want to make sure that I get my glue. You know, I have an edge for glue, okay? And then I didn't do this edge because going into the pocket, that's not going to cause a problem. It's this one that's going to cause the problem. I did get a little bit of a ridge there, but I think I got it flat, so I think it's going to be all right. Okay, so that's going to go there. So glue on two sides. So I'm going to do the bottom, then I'm going to glue up the top or the side here all the way up, and I'm going to glue it. I'm not going all the way to the bottom. I want a little border of the orange around it because it's fall colors and I love them. All right. And then here is our little tag that goes in that pocket, and then you still have room underneath to put things. So then this little guy here that we created is just going to center right on that pocket and then be another little place to put little fun things. So I can envision me using this for Thanksgiving, getting ready for Thanksgiving. Maybe keeping menu ideas if I'm going to try anything new, tucking recipes, you know, getting pictures. One year I did do a project where I cut out a bunch of cardstock leaves and had everybody write something they were thankful for or happy about, or even just, you know, anything they wanted. You could do that, tuck those in the pocket so you have like a book full of leaves. I thought that would be kind of fun again to do, and then put them in here. The other one I did it in a box, so that was fun. So there's that. Let's turn here. We've got another pocket here. I left this plain here for now, so we've got just another pocket. So this is that other piece of border strip along that pattern paper. So I am going to just glue those down just like I did on the 3 sides again, and create a pocket on this side. So I put glue on 3 sides. And then this will go to the edge of the page, because I wanted a big enough pocket, you know, because since it's closed at the top, I wanted to make sure that I kind of utilized all the space there as I could. There we go. Little tag for that pocket, and then here is our back page. So we still have lots of places to put things. So let's go back. This is the piece we wanted for this pocket, so we're just going to glue that down there. Now the back of this gold paper, and I don't know if I said this before, is a little bit on the slick side too. So do be a little careful when you're burnishing that down. Don't let it slide around too much. It is a little more slick than regular, you know, pattern paper. And you'll get the feel for it when you do it as well. But I love the color and I love the look, right? Okay. And then, my little glue leavings off everything. All right. So there's that. And then the front page, let's see here. Do I want to do it like that? Do I want to do it like that? I think I want to do it like that, but I think, I think I want to do it like that, like right smack dab in the middle, because I really kind of like that look of the kind of washi tape there. Kind of like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Right above the word blanket, kind of in the middle. I like that. Okay, so I am just going to glue that down. Yeah, my eyeball centering it. And again, I'm really holding it down because it is a little bit slick. I don't want it sliding around. Okay, like so. Okay, that is that. So let's quick go through. We'll just do a quick walkthrough. This is what it looks like so far. So big library pocket with the 2 tags. We turn the page. Lots of room still for decorating. We've got a couple clips that we made that can tuck really cute, fun things. Receipts, you could do recipes. Here's a nice full page pocket with a tag. And then we've got 2 little either areas for photos or for quotes. We got little tags here in this little pocket. Another paper clip. I love this simple binding too. Okay. There's another library card, another big tag, another spot for things. Turn that page. We've got a pocket here, and then here is our back page. All right. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to go through. I'm going to, well, first I'm going to show you. So this is what I have left over. I have a couple pieces of this left over, a couple pieces of the pattern paper. I have a couple tags left over. And I have some of these cut aparts left over. Okay, so I've got some things that I've cut out. The fun thing is you can make this so your own. You know, there's so many things you can do with it. So I have those. And then I also have some stickers that I have not used yet. Now I also do have a little bit of my cardstock left over. So I'm going to come back. I'll show you what I've done. And that'll be the rest of the tutorial. So hold on a second and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm back and I have decorated and put everything together, and I thought I'd do a walkthrough and show you the final junk journal that I created. So there's still lots of room to add things, which is the purpose of this. So let's get going. For the cover, I did add the cover element, and the only thing that I did add extra was this butterfly sticker on the front. I tied the bow here so that keeps everything closed, and then on the back cover, this was a sticker that I backed on some more of that gold, and I just put it over the middle of that seam binding, so that'll further reinforce that seam binding. It's chunky as is, and, you know, like I said, lots of room to add things. So let's untie and make sure that I am in frame, and we'll go through it. So I added a sticker here, and then this is one of the paper cut apart pieces that I just put down there so you could write a little date or something like that in there. Left this page as is, so that's how we created it, and it has these two cut aparts in it, which I thought were pretty fun. And then you have, again, this back pocket here that you could add things to. We turned the page. Now here I added a piece of pattern paper that was left over. There was cut apart pieces on the back of this, and I sacrificed those. And then I added a sticker border from the sticker sheet. And then this was one of the cut apart pieces that I added onto some of the brown cardstock that was left over, and then added a cluster of leaves and the acorn stickers here. Then in the pocket, this is one of those border strips that was left over. So I just folded it in half and created a little tag booklet, and I put a sticker up here where like the hole would be. So that's what's in that pocket. Then remember we talked about being able to tuck things in. Well, I tucked this piece in here. So this was a piece of the yellow cardstock, and I literally just tucked it in between the pages, in between those spine pieces. And so that's the other really nice thing about making a journal this way, is that you have that ability to actually add more pages, even as long as they fit in between the holes. So I did add this piece of paper. This was left over, and it was, let me double check, it was 8 inches, and it's 5 1/4. So I just scored it at 4, added one of the paper pieces here, edge punched it, and then these were 2 of the ephemera pieces that I just added as like a tab on either side. Okay, so this page, I added one of the ephemera pieces that came in the ephemera pack that says Fall Breeze and Autumn Leaves. So there's that. I did add twine. This is Country Craft Creations twine that I did add to the tags. And some of them I did, you know, like the tag kind of twine, and then some of them I have bows. So they kind of alternate a little bit. But this one here, I just added the twine. On this page here, this was a strip from the pattern paper that I added to the edge. It said Cozy Sweaters, but if I cut the S off and then went just to the side of the 9, or side of the memories, that was 9 inches, and that fit that page perfectly. This is an ephemera piece from the ephemera pack that I received. That is just a border, and I just added that to that, and then here's a sticker here. So that kind of dressed up that page a little bit, but also still leaves lots of room. Back here is the pocket page. So I added the camera sticker because these can be photo mats. So I thought that was kind of appropriate. And then that one tag in that pocket. This page I left as is, except for I added this yellow piece of cardstock. I created a couple tags out of that leftover bit and then put the heart sticker there and then added twine to that tag as well. So that tucks in that pocket. Over here, these were sticker borders that I used. This was the other piece that I used on that other pocket. So I put the skinny orange sticker up at the top, and then I used the last bit there, kind of staggered them up here. And then I used a little bit of that orange down at the bottom, and then used the sticker that says beauty there. So that kind of dressed up that page. On this page here, I had this section of cut aparts that I hadn't used. And so what I decided to do is make a double pocket basically by making a slot pocket. So let me take these out and I'll show you. So this is what this piece looked like. And all I did was edge punched the top edges. And then I took my X-Acto knife, and from about a 1/2 inch in on either side, I just made a slit in between those so that you can have two pockets. Now, the other thing that I did do was this was another piece that I added to the book. So this was a piece that I did trim down a little bit because I wanted it a little bit shorter, to 11 inches by 6.5, and I scored it at 5.5. So that made another set of pages. So I should have said that first. Then I put this on here, made the slot pocket. And then these were little bits that were in the paper collection. So I thought I would just pop these in that little slot pocket. I thought that was kind of fun to do that. Okay, and then I glued it on the three sides, excuse me, so that I could use 2 more of the tags. Oh, and I think I forgot to cut the bottom off that tag. Oh my goodness. Good thing I'm going through that. Okay, that's more better. Okay, so those go in there. And then it opens up. This is one of the ephemera pieces from the collection. And then this was one of the cut aparts that I had left over. I just thought I'd put that there for a label. Lots of room to write, clip things. You can add more paper clips, whatever your little heart desires, glue things down. Stickers down here, the pumpkin and the heart. Here I left everything the same except for I did add the the twine to the bow. Over here, the only thing I did was add an acorn to that tag instead of twine. All right. This page here was a piece of the pattern paper that was left over, so I just glued it on 2 sides and made a pocket, one for a tag, and then I made this was the other tag that I made out of the yellow, and I put the apple sticker there. I added this sticker, My Happy Place, up at the top. On here, I left this all the same, and I did forget to put twine in these, so I will go back and do that. Sorry about that. But you still have this pocket piece back here too, so you can add more things. Here was one of the cut apart pieces, and I just made a banner out of it. And then this is one of the ephemera pieces that I just layered with that banner piece. So it had kind of that tie-in. And then over here was a fun little thing. So I had another piece of this leaf pattern paper, and so I trimmed it down to 3 by 6, and then I scored it at 3. And then what I ended up doing was gluing it onto a piece of the gold to create a little booklet. So the gold is only attached to the page on the 2 sides. So there is a pocket behind that. Then you have this flip out, and then I had one little piece of the red left over, and so I trimmed it down so you have those borders. Added some stickers here with the leaves and the bee and all the cozy vibes. And then all I did was take a paper clip and tie a little bow around that. And then this will clip to the pocket and keep the little booklet closed. Okay, so you still have the pocket behind it. So that was kind of fun. Here's the other side of that page that I tucked underneath. And I just used, again, a little scrap of paper that was left over, trimmed it down. I corner rounded that, put a couple tags in it. And then on the other side, I used this piece that says Autumn Leaves. This is This was piece of the pattern paper that I cut out, yeah. And then I had this piece of pattern paper. Again, I made pockets. Don't have enough paper from what I rationed myself with to put anything in there, but you have enough space to put, like, you know, recipe cards or whatever you want to put in there. I did use this ephemera piece to make a pocket, and then added these 3 arrow stickers to point to this little journaling spot. And then these 2 pieces were cut aparts from the paper collection, and I just made them into tickets with my punch, and then added those to this little pocket here. And this was a little sticker that I added up to the top there. Okay. Back here, I left this page plain, like we had it before. Okay. And then here, this was a giant leaf, and I cut it in half and put 1 in each corner, and then added this sticker here that says gather together. Okay. So that is my pamphlet junk journal. And again, it's really easy to put together, and the pages you can slip more in. So like in between, you could put something in between these pages. You can add more, as much as you want. You can add as much as you want. But I think it turned out really cute. There's a lot of room to add things, a lot of room to, if you want to put photos in here or use it like as a planner. You know, junk journal, fall junk journal. I kind of like my idea about making more leaves and then having people write on them so that I could go back and put them in here and have that for Thanksgiving. I think that would be kind of fun too. So lots of ideas for this, and this was half of my design team package. The other half will be an actual photo album. So I really hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. This took 6 sheets of the pattern paper. 3 of them had ephemera bits and tags. 3 were pattern paper front and back. And then I used 4 sheets of the cardstock, and I used 1 full sheet of the gold paper, and then I used some stickers, so I still have some stickers left over. I still have some ephemera bits left over, but that's what I have left over for that, for the album. And then I just wanted to show you what I had left from the paper that I rationed myself with. Basically, this is what I have left over. So not a whole heck of a lot. I think I used everything pretty darn well, don't you think? So this is my photo play autumn junk journal. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with a tutorial for the album using this paper collection. All right, thank you. Stay crafty. Have a great day. Bye-bye.